If you think every feeling can be translated into English, this video is going to prove you wrong. Because there's a language that has words for emotions you've definitely felt, but never had the vocabulary to explain. Moments that made your chest flutter, your heart tighten, your teeth clench from cuteness, or your soul feel permanently indebted to someone. And once you hear these words, you won't be able to unfeel them. They come from the Philippines, and there are no perfect English translations for them. By the end of this video, you'll probably realize something unsettling. You've lived parts of your life without the words to describe them. And once you finally have those words, they hit harder than you expect. Let's start with a feeling almost everyone recognizes, but very few can explain. Imagine this. You're scrolling on your phone. A message pops up. It's from someone you secretly like. Not a big confession. Not even romantic. Just a simple "Did you eat yet?" or "I was thinking about you," and suddenly, something happens. Your chest tightens just a little. Your stomach feels warm. You smile without meaning to. Your heart speeds up, but not in a scary way. It's soft, light, almost electric. You don't even know why you feel this way, but you do. In English, we'd call this a crush, or butterflies, or excitement, but none of those are quite right. In Filipino, there's a word for this exact feeling, kilig. Kilig isn't just attraction. It's not love. It's not even happiness. It's that involuntary emotional spark when something romantic, sweet, or unexpectedly affectionate hits you right in the chest. It's when your body reacts before your brain can catch up. When you squeal internally, when your shoulders rise, when your heart flutters just enough to make you pause. You can feel kilig from a glance, from a smile, from holding hands for the first time, from watching two characters fall in love in a movie. And here's the part that makes kilig special. It doesn't require commitment. It doesn't require love. It doesn't even require the feeling to last. Kilig lives in moments, and once the moment passes, it fades, but you remember it forever. That's why Filipinos don't say, "I feel butterflies." They say, "Nakakakilig." It gives me kilig, because it's something that happens to you. Now let's shift to a feeling that's much heavier. A feeling that's quiet, subtle, and often misunderstood. Picture this. You're upset at someone you love, maybe a close friend, a partner, a family member. They hurt you, but not enough for a fight. Not enough to yell. Not enough to walk away. So instead, you go quiet. You answer with short replies. You avoid eye contact. You pull away emotionally. Not because you want to punish them, but because you're hurt, and you don't know how to say it. In English, we might call this sulking, or being passive-aggressive, or pouting. But those words make it sound childish, immature, intentional. The Filipino word for this feeling is tampo, and tampo isn't about manipulation. It's about emotional withdrawal caused by disappointment, especially when the hurt comes from someone you care deeply about. Tampo is when you're waiting, not for an apology exactly, but for recognition, for the other person to notice that something is wrong, without you having to say it out loud. It's deeply tied to closeness. You don't feel tampo toward strangers. You don't feel tampo toward people you don't care about. You feel it toward people whose actions matter to you. And that's why tampo is so powerful and so dangerous. Because if it goes unaddressed, it can build walls silently. But if it's noticed, acknowledged, and handled gently, it can bring people closer. Now let's talk about a word that feels almost ridiculous until you realize how real it is. Have you ever seen something so unbearably cute that it made you uncomfortable? A chubby baby laughing. A tiny puppy trying to walk. A kitten falling asleep mid-play. You smile. Then you clench your fists. You grit your teeth. You want to squeeze it. Not to hurt it, but because the emotion is too much to hold. In English, we don't have a real word for this. We say things like, I could just eat you up, or you are so cute I am angry. But Filipinos have a word that captures this exact emotional overload. Jiggle. Jiggle is the urge to pinch, squeeze, or clench when something is overwhelmingly cute, adorable, or lovable. And psychologists have actually studied this phenomenon. They call it cute aggression. The brain reacts to extreme positive emotion by expressing it in a way that looks aggressive but isn't. Filipinos noticed this feeling long before science gave it a name. That's why jiggle exists. It's not anger, it's not violence, it's emotional overflow. Your heart can't contain it, so your body reacts. Now we move from emotions to something bigger, something cultural, something communal. Imagine a small village, a family's house burns down, or floods, or collapses. They have nothing left, no money, no materials, no strength to rebuild alone. And then, the next morning, people start arriving, neighbors, friends, even strangers. No one is paid, no one asked for credit. They lift, they carry, they rebuild, together in Filipino culture. This is called bayanihan. The word comes from bayan, meaning community or nation. Bayanihan is the spirit of communal unity, helping others not because you're obligated, but because you belong to the same human circle. In the old days, bayanihan literally meant villagers carrying an entire house together, lifting it on bamboo poles, and moving it to a new location. Today, it means something broader: disaster relief, community fundraisers, neighbors helping neighbors. And here's what makes bayanihan untranslatable. It's not charity, it's not volunteerism, it's not teamwork. It's shared responsibility rooted in identity. You help because their struggle is your struggle, and that mindset changes everything. Now let's talk about the heaviest word on this list, a word that isn't just emotional, but moral, a word that can shape entire lives. Untranslatable. Literally, it translates to death of the inner self, but that doesn't even come close. Untranslatable is the deep, lifelong sense of gratitude and obligation you feel towards someone who helped you in a meaningful way, especially when they didn't have to. It's not transactional. It's not something you can repay with money. If someone helped your family when you had nothing, if someone sacrificed for your future, if someone changed the course of your life, you carry untranslatable. And here's the key part: it's not forced, no one demands it. It lives inside you. It influences your choices, your loyalty, your decisions. And yes, sometimes it can feel heavy, because untranslatable isn't just gratitude. It's a moral compass. It asks, how do I honor what was given to me? And now, here's where everything connects. These words exist because Filipino culture pays attention to emotional nuance, to relationships, to community, to shared humanity. Other languages may describe events. Filipino words describe emotional states within relationships. That's why these words are so hard to translate, because they don't stand alone. They exist between people. Kilig exists between hearts. Tampo exists between loved ones. Jiggle exists between care and overwhelm. Bayanihan exists between neighbors. Untranslatable exists between souls. And once you know these words, something strange happens. You start noticing these feelings more clearly. You realize you felt kilig before, even if you didn't know its name. You recognize tampo in moments you once dismissed. You understand why jiggle feels so intense. You see bayanihan in acts of kindness around you. You carry your own version of untranslatable. And maybe that's why these words feel so powerful. Because language doesn't just describe reality. It shapes how deeply we feel it. And somewhere out there, in moments you'll experience again, you'll feel something you finally have a word for. And that word will stay with you long after this video ends.